I want to talk to you about the Homestead Natural Co-working Project, which is an idea I've got that you may or not be interested in. But it definitely joins on to the idea of living a more off-grid sort of existence and shaping your own destiny. So the idea here, and I'm having a look at my own presentation, I can send you a link to this. I'll probably put it actually in the Good Morning Portugal Facebook page and on our website. And when I came to Lisbon, I realised there's this sort of digital nomad phenomenon, as well as a startup culture. Very interesting times, and the world of work is obviously changing. And Lisbon has become a very popular place for those digital nomads, i.e. the people who work from their laptops from anywhere they fancy in the world. Lisbon has become a really attractive place to do that. And there are co-working spaces where you can just check in and you could be there for a few hours, you could be there for a few days, you could base yourself there for months on end, just for the duration of a particular project or for the amount of time you want to be in a particular country. People are doing this all over the world, it would seem, and Lisbon is a very popular site for doing such a thing, being a digital nomad and joining in various co-working spaces across the city. And it is quite a glamorous sort of lifestyle, isn't it? You know, on paper you're thinking, oh, I could work anywhere, I could work in all these exciting places I'd like to visit. If I've got a laptop-based business and I deal with all my clients and my work via my laptop and the internet, I could be wherever I wanted to be. And I think that thought has flashed through a lot of people's minds. And it occurred to me that, hold on a minute, as great as that sounds on paper, you're still in a city with all the challenges that city living can bring. So the challenge in Lisbon, of course, is getting incredibly expensive. And it, on the face of it, would seem like a really cool place to be. But it could be that by the time you've arrived and then the time you've left, the rental accommodation price has gone up in that short space of time because the place is cooking in the best and worst of ways. You know, the cost of living is going up. Life for local people is being made harder by this influx of tourists and co-working digital nomads pushing prices up and so on. A lot of people actually aren't even in co-working spaces, just come to a buzzing city like Lisbon and sit in cafes all day and public spaces and do their work. And very nice it is too. But I thought to myself, why wouldn't we do a co-working in nature? And the idea is to come and join us in Portugal for the Homestead Natural Co-working Project. So you've got the image of co-working. You might have somebody on a deck chair with their laptop in front of them, and it's a nice idea in your head. And then you realise, don't you, that when you try and use your laptop on the beach, you can't see it because of the hideous glare of the sun. And also the worry of getting sand in it and so on, in all your electronic devices. And the reality of co-working for people is being in quite cramped and awkward circumstances with batteries going flat and not being able to find a space and, you know, having to deal with your human bodily needs every now and then and wondering what to do with your stuff. So I was thinking, you know, how about a co-working space that's more natural and easygoing and relaxing, where the keywords might be things like nourishing and peaceful, holistic, natural, organic, wholesome, wild, tranquil, permaculture, sustainable. And you get the vibe here. We're more on a pure Portugal co-working tip here than the intensity of these city co-working spaces, as glamorous and exciting as they are. And we're thinking, you know, we could invite writers and retreaters, people on retreat. We could get probably the more mature digital nomads, although I recognise, you know, quite a lot of younger people aren't that fussed about the rat race either, so it could be digital nomads of all ages. But I'm thinking it might be more suited to the sort of digital nomad who doesn't want to close up their laptop at about 4 p.m. and start partying and living a very bohemian lifestyle. That might not be exactly suitable in the countryside. There may not be many nightclubs nearby. Let's put it that way. So portfolio workers, tourers and vagabonds, downshifters and simplifiers, homeschoolers and unschoolers, and groups who are celebrating, like maybe hen parties and... Or maybe not, I don't know, perhaps not. They're looking for a different sort of thing as well. But why would Portugal be good would be one question. It is unspoilt and sparsely populated. I probably don't need to tell you that. That's why you might be visiting here or heading here. Good food and good air and quality of life. Safe and welcoming. Town and city. Great balance of towns and cities when you need them, but you don't have to be in them. Excellent rail and air connections and good roads generally connecting. The intercity roads are good if you want to pay for the tolls, and it's definitely a family-friendly culture. So Louisa and I, we've had many years of community living and outdoor and rural hospitality sort of stuff, and we came here last year. My full-time thing is being Ownet's community builder, which is a community communication platform that we're working on, and we should have something to show for it by the end of the year, having moved to Aviro. Louisa, full-time mum, and I call her the Homestead Supremo and Superhero. And our general sort of family vibe is that we're aiming to live lightly. We are unschooling, homeschooling our family. We want to walk the talk rather than just be thinking about it, which is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. Been able to do some nice rural stuff and off-grid sort of stuff. But here we are now, really wanting to walk the talk. And we're committed to transformation in health, education, and how people work. So we're pretty keen on the digital nomad life in a sense, and people working off-grid and out of conventional work situations. And aren't more and more people thinking they don't want to be in a cubicle and sat in traffic jams just to get to their wage slave occupation? I'm painting a very grim view, but you know what I'm saying. Between us, we speak a bit of French and a smattering of Portuguese and obviously English. And I don't know if you've heard of the word ikigai. Ikigai, maybe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's a Japanese concept of a reason for being, and it's like a Venn diagram, and you've achieved ikigai when you manage to bring together what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. So that's the idea with this Homestead co-working project, and we're encouraging people to come and do the same. That's what we're looking at. That will be a measure of success for us when those four influences come into alignment. The products and income of such a venture, and feel free, I'm putting this idea in the public domain. If you want to use it, go for it. I've got the presentation here with all the ideas. If you want to use it yourself in rural Portugal, please knock yourself out and have a great time doing it, and let me know how you get on. But the income model could be from nightly accommodation, one night or several nights or a month or two for people coming and staying on a homestead co-working project. You could obviously serve meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner. There are spaces and pitches where people could camp if they wanted to, or put their camper van. Solo sessions, if you've got, a lot of people want to create a sort of retreat space because they're therapists of one kind or another. My better half is an astrologer and hypnotherapist, so she could do solo sessions in this space, and there could be group sessions as well. She loves doing what is almost like stand-up astrology in groups, and I'd love to work with groups as well on communication stuff, whatever. We can have a men's group, residential. But these are the sorts of customers you might have in such a place. And for me, the basics are somewhere private to sleep, rest and reflect. So you have got your own place to retreat to. You're not in some sort of nightmarish communitarian commune where you have to be in full public glare constantly. But so you've got your place where you sleep and rest and reflect. You've got your own room, effectively your own space. Nutritious and clean food on hand. Community when you want it, but obviously peace and privacy when you don't. Good internet connection, really important for the digital nomads. Teleconferencing and a radio studio. And you want some level of a local amenity for fun and contrast. So let's say you do want to get to the local nightclub, discotheque, or bars or whatever. You want to be quite close to that, so when choosing your residence. Also, the principles of the project, I think it's important to connect to nature, both inside and out, your internal and external nature. Solitude and community balance, ease to be, and that's to be healthy, happy, and to have that feeling that life is good, just take the pressure off, less stress, calm, and that's what we're striving for. And that health is a product of happiness, and that happiness is an absence of problems. Guiding principles for the Homestead co-working project. Ideally then, if you're looking for a place to house such a venture, you'd want somewhere with inspiring and beautiful views. I would think near water, a river, beach, or the Atlantic coast. So the Silver Coast would be great. The central area would be great, but let's face it, a place of that kind with beautiful views and near water, either a river, beach or Atlantic coast, that's all over Portugal, let's face it. Clean water source, fruit and nut trees is what we'd personally like. Sound, beautiful buildings with space around for flexibility and or development. Space for growing clean, healthy, tasty food, and to be able to compost our waste. And a level access, low-rise site so we can be fair to people of all sorts of needs. But you're unlikely to find a multi-storey block of flats in the countryside anyway. It's not unknown. That's true. So our site specification continued. Pleasant, hospitable climate. Let's face it, most of Portugal offers that a lot of the time. Not too hot or too cold. Seasons and rhythms. There's not much we can do to I suppose, get that under control at the moment. That's a long-term project, isn't it? Tackling climate change, but that's another issue to go into another time. Birdsong, tranquility and good vibes, comfortably affordable, no need for vehicles on site, so you can roll up and then transfer, and we'll make it a car-free site as much as possible. Useful amenities and cooperative components, so just a nice place to be with a helpful attitude and atmosphere and environment. Walking and biking to distance to supplies and other people would be part of the spec as well. And people that you need. You need a property partner, or you need to find a property to do this. Cash investors would be welcome, people who want to invest in such a project. And it could be on a timeshare basis, couldn't it, where you come and take advantage of these facilities for a little bit of a cash contribution into the project. And something we've come up with here, crowdfunding. Bear with us while we go into our total hippie animal, totem power animal thing with crows. Listen to this from shamanicjourney.com. To truly create a new age of love, peace and harmony, it is of high importance for us to be able to transcend our particular cultural limitations and to hold in our hearts and souls what we share as spiritual beings in human form. We are all connected, infinitely, and composed of the same stuff. We need to realise that hurting others only hurts ourselves. Crow is the bird which represents this transcendence. Crow can also teach us to be mindful about judging people automatically. Be mindful of your opinions and actions. You need to walk your talk, to speak your truth, and to know your life's mission. Again, trust your intuition and personal integrity to create your own standards, whether or not they match those or the world around you. Be an individual. Think for yourself. Don't necessarily follow the crowd. Crowdfunding. Get it? I love all those little principles there of the crow as the power animal. And where we're looking. Now, I put this presentation together a while ago, and Aveiro was circled as are Porto and Coimbra, as well as Fundão. But like I said before, all over Portugal are fabulous places to have such a project. And it's out there in the public domain if you want to run with this idea. This is co-working in nature rather than the intense city environments, as is all the vogue in Lisbon. Nothing wrong with that, but if you want something a bit quieter and less stressful, how about the Homestead Natural Co-working? So we're looking for a location and property. We're looking for partners, and by the summer it'd be great to have found such people. And as we go into the autumn, we can make the place ready, and by spring of 2019 be ready to welcome our first guests. Do get in touch with me via the Good Morning Portugal show. Why not on Facebook in our page, or Carl Munson on Facebook, or email me, carl@carlmunson.com, carl@carlmunson.com, carl@carlmunson.com. Thank you for listening this morning. I think we're going to have to hold on.